everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then hi, my name's Caitlin, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about some eyeshadow palettes that I'm so glad that I did not buy. All of the palettes that I'm talking about today are palettes that I really wanted. I really wanted these palettes at some point in time. I did not end up buying them, and some of the reasons that I'm happy I didn't buy them. Eyeshadow palettes are a big thing for me. They are my kryptonite. So passing on them is a big deal for me. But I'm kind of getting in the headspace of a no buy / low buy. So I think it's very important to just kind of reflect and remind myself that I don't actually need all of these things. And sometimes I don't even want them. I look at them and I'm like, oh, that's pretty. Don't even give it a thought. But before we jump into it, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me. I'm doing Vlogmas. We're nearly at the end of Vlogmas, to be honest. It's kind of weird, kind of crazy. It's been a ride. So definitely subscribe because there are a lot more videos coming your way. You don't want to miss out. Okay, I have 9 eyeshadow palettes on the list, so I'm going to budge up so that you can like see the picture of the palette that I'm talking about. The first palette is the Mandalorian palette. Both Mandalorian palettes, the green one and the like more cool tone one. I wanted both of them. Cool tones I'm really getting into despite what my eyes say today. Cool tones I love. I love cool tones with a pop of blue. That is my dream palette. But also greens. I'm really getting into greens as well. The reason I did not buy these is because Colourpop shipping to the UK is expensive. Oh my god. You're at least doubling the price for the shipping and then the customs as well. Most of the time, if they don't have some sort of deal, like shipping deal on, it's not worth the money. And these like inexpensive Colourpop palettes began to be like mid-range, pretty expensive palettes. And that's why I didn't buy them. I'm glad I didn't buy them because I've got so many Colourpop palettes that just sit in my drawer and don't really do much. And I know that they would turn into that. So I'm so glad I didn't waste my money on stupid expensive shipping for good quality palettes that wouldn't really do much. I mean, I've got the Baroque palette, which is very similar to the grey palette. And I've also got the Just My Luck palette, which is more green tones. I have the tones, I don't need them. I'm not like I've never seen Star Wars either, so like the theming, it just goes over my head, like I don't know. The second palette, technically third, but you know, the Mandalorian were in one. So the second palette that I'm so glad I didn't buy is the e.l.f. mini bite size palette, the mint one. That really got my interest. It piqued my interest. I was ready to go out and buy it. The reason I didn't buy it is because it first released in America, if I'm not mistaken, and it wasn't in the UK for quite a few weeks. So by the time it got to the UK, A, the hype had died down, and B, the reviews were out, and the reviews were really bad. The reviews said that it was patchy, it didn't blend, it wasn't pigmented, and I was like, I don't want that. I really don't want that. Even though it was like £3, I don't want something that's patchy, unpigmented, doesn't blend. So I'm actually very happy that that released in America before it came to England, because otherwise I'd have snapped it up, I'd have bought it, and I'd have been really disappointed. I think I love my Truffles palette so much that I just assumed that it would be the same quality. But clearly not. So I'm glad I escaped that one. The third one is the Beauty Bay Age of Opulence palette. So I remember being on Instagram, I saw the Beauty Bay post revealed, and my first reaction was like, oh my god, I love this palette so much. And then about 2 seconds passed and I went, that's the same as the Book of Magic. And I have the Book of Magic and I love the Book of Magic. I feel like the Age of Opulence is just the Book of Magic, just like scrambled around a little bit. I know there are some shades that are a little bit different, but overall, it's the same vibe. So I'm really glad I didn't buy that. I know that Beauty Bay, it's an inexpensive brand and the shipping would have been pretty much nothing. But I'm just so glad because I love my Book of Magic. I want to get use out of the Book of Magic. It's something that I already own and I don't want repeat shades. Next is a very new palette. This is the Glam Light Icy palette. It's literally just been like released. It's the blue one. You guys know I love blue eyeshadow. I love blue eyeshadow. Blue is my favourite colour to wear on my eyes, but I have the Blue Moon palette. I have other blues that I love. I have the Book of Magic, which has loads of blues in it. I have the Elsa palette that has loads of blues in it. What else has loads of blues? What I'm saying is I've got loads of blue eyeshadow that I love and I adore, and most of them don't even look used. So why would I bring another blue palette into my collection? As much as I love blue, I have so much blue. I honestly have so much blue. I do not need another all blue palette. As much as I would love it, I don't need it. And I think I'd be a little bit overwhelmed if I did buy it, because I have blue. I have so much blue. I have my little Lethal palette that I made. That's mostly blue. I have so much. And honestly, there is nothing in the Icy palette that is different than the blues in my collection right now. And yeah, I just think I'd be just bringing in duplicate shades, and I don't want to do that. Next is the BH Cosmetics Turquoise Gemstone palette. So they do the like monthly little palettes for each birthstone. That I literally just said birthstone and I couldn't remember what it was called. Birthstones palette. This turquoise palette called my name. Oh my god, it is beautiful. But then I remembered that they put a pressed glitter in every single palette, and I don't use pressed glitter. I use pressed glitter for the first time in like 6 months on my nails. I don't really wear it on my eyes. My eyes are quite sensitive. Like, this eye is leaking as we speak. Ignore it. I've redone my eyeshadow. I'm trying to keep it under control. But my eyes are very, very sensitive. I do not need this. As beautiful as it is, I cannot deal with pressed glitters. I just can't do it, so I'm very glad that I did not buy that one. Okay, next is something that actually kind of pains me. This is the Pastel Roses Halloween Trick or Treat palette. I love the Pastel Roses, okay? I love them. They are probably one of my favourite brands. I've been raving about them so many times. I love their single eyeshadows, but this palette has pinks and purples in it. All of like the special shades in the middle are kind of pinky purple leaning, and I don't really like pinky purple eyeshadow. Again, ignore my eyes today. I'm pushing myself today. But on like an everyday basis, I would never ever ever reach for a pinky purple look. So this is wasted on me. As pretty as it is and as beautiful as it is, this is not something that I would reach for. I'd reach for the mattes that aren't pinky purple. But the special shades, which is the selling point of the palette, I just wouldn't use it. I would not use it. I have some Pastel Roses singles, which I love. I'd rather just stick with them. Hopefully they do like another palette which is more my style, because I know they have been teasing kind of new palettes. I hope they do that because I love their quality. Their quality is to die for. It's just the colour story. Purples, I just don't reach for. So yeah, I'm glad that I rethought that and I wasn't just a mindless, crazed fan, and I thought about it. I was so close, maybe like a year ago, to buying the Morphe Jaclyn Hill original palette. I'm so glad I didn't, because then that big drama came out with the formula change and no one actually like told people that the formula had changed. So like, if you don't know, like the original Jaclyn Hill formula when it first came out was like really good, really pigmented, really blendable. And then somewhere along the line they changed it so it wasn't as good. And I would have been buying it with the worst formula. And I don't want to do that. I think that it's just a really shady thing to do. I don't really understand why they did that, but okay, it's for money reasons really, isn't it? But like, Jesus Christ, I'm so glad, because I don't want to buy a rubbish formula. And also, in hindsight now, it's a very neutral palette. Like, it does have some blues in it, but if I was trying to buy it now, I just wouldn't even look at it. Me a year ago, on the other hand, was like, ooh, that's a pretty palette. But oh my god, I'm so glad I did not buy that, because even if the formula hadn't changed, it's very neutral. Like, me now would not really look at that at all. Next is the Colourpop Ooh La La palette. This, I'm so embarrassed that this was even on my mind. I knew that I didn't like pink eyeshadow, but because I had this collector's mentality and I had all the other colours of the Colourpop palettes, I really wanted the Ooh La La palette. Even though I don't like pink, I knew I would never use it because I don't like pink, but I had all the other colours of the rainbow and I wanted the pink one. And that is ridiculous because it would have stayed in my drawer and it would be untouched and it would just be gathering dust. And I knew this, and the only reason I didn't buy it was because it was out of stock for the longest time. I think they may have discontinued it. Thank God they did. Because I would have bought that, and that is ridiculous. I would have 100% bought that palette, and like the thought of that makes me really sad because I know like a year ago I was bad with buying makeup that I knew I would never use. At least I think about things now, okay? And finally, the last palette on this list was the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette. Oh my god, I wanted this palette so badly. And I didn't because I couldn't afford it at the time. When I was like a Jeffree Star fan, I know I was a Jeffree Star fan. Oh, we're gonna ignore that. But when I was a Jeffree Star fan, I didn't have that much money. I wasn't a student at the time. It was just whatever money I could get from my little part-time jobs. But like, I couldn't afford £50 for an eyeshadow palette like I can now. And that's the only reason I didn't get it. But I longed for that palette for so long. Obviously didn't end up buying it. And oh my god, I'm so glad because for obvious reasons, I'm so glad I don't have that palette. I'm so glad. Obviously with all the controversy with Jeffree Star, I do not support Jeffree Star right now, or ever, probably, most likely. Even my conspiracy palette, I've depotted it. I've put it into a singles palette so I don't have to see it really. But I know that I would have depotted it and I would have just left it somewhere, and it's a lot of money to just depot and leave a palette like that. So yeah, I'm very glad I did not buy that one as well. How's my eye looking? It's a little bit watery. Literally before I came on camera, I was just like packing on eyeshadow around this area because I've been out into town today and my eyes have just strained so bad. So yeah, I'm gonna go off camera, I'm gonna take my makeup off, and I'm gonna have a nice long bath, I think. Oh, that sounds delicious. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Are there any eyeshadow palettes that you were really eyeing up and that you're so glad you didn't buy? I've seen a lot of people doing this kind of video recently, and I just wanted to hop on the bandwagon and give my thoughts. I could do another video with like other makeup that I'm glad I didn't buy, not necessarily eyeshadow palettes. That could be quite fun. But yeah, let me know if there are some things that you think as well. I'd love to know. So have an amazing day, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. You do not want to miss out on Vlogmas. And I will see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow. Bye, guys!